The new tire model of Le Mans Ultimate is an absolute relief, and it's also a disaster. You see this device? Every now and then they come with an update. And in my opinion, it's not always an improvement. So yesterday when everyone was enjoying the new content and driving around, the only thing I did, I almost didn't sleep, was fixing all my car setups from my store for my community. So that's what I did. The Porsche, the McLaren, the Ferrari, and the BMW. Because of the new tire model, of course, which should be an improvement. But maybe it is, but for beginners, it is an absolute disaster. And I think that beginners and the pros, the gap will become huge. And let me explain why. What I'm normally doing, I am in my man cave driving pointless laps to get a car to behave on my liking. So I want it to bite into the corner when I'm steering. I want to have that back end stepping out slightly when I go on throttle, and I want to have massive top speed. Now, the good thing about this update is that I believe from open setup perspective, the cars came a lot closer together. For example, the 992 here didn't really change a whole lot in this aerodynamic behavior. So this car will have, let's say we take this level 4 low downforce setup. Let's show you here real quick. Can you see everything? Yes. With the lowest wing. Now the other cars, when they put, like, let's say you put the Ferrari in the previous update, if you put that on the low wing, then it would absolutely outcompete this car. But now, that's not the case anymore. They're closer together, which is a good thing. Kudos for Le Mans Ultimate. Yay. But there's a problem. And the problem is the front tires. Because when I started playing Le Mans Ultimate, when the VR headset was working finally with me, and like it was VR supported, then the update felt a lot like it is now. You had to really be careful with your steering input. You had to put packers in place to make the car safe on entry. Also with brake bias and ride heights and whatever. Then the new update came, and for instance with the McLaren that I built then, I mean, ride heights on the back wasn't enough, soft anti-roll bars on the front, very soft springs, massive amount, like no packers, like massive amount of suspension travel, and these cars just didn't want to turn anymore, right? And then people were complaining about the car being floaty. But to me, there was a lot of flavor in the setups, only like probably the BOP or like how cars like were competing against each other, maybe it wasn't fair. So great. But now everything is so fucking oversteery all the time. These cars will just murder you every time, everywhere you go. Unless you do this. So you go to suspension. You know what? Let's make this a proper example. So high downforce level 5. That's something I would use on this track. And I have massive packers. I have massive spring rate. I have the max wing. And I have the stiffest anti-roll bar, right? So why am I going for the stiff anti-roll bar and the stiff springs and the lowest packers? This all aim towards the understeer. I want to have that understeer. Why? Because I want ride height for a Rouge and Blanchiment. If I don't have ride height on the back, I have understeer there, right? And this is what I mean with one-dimensional. Because this, like, I can promise you, this drives beautifully. So, like, if you want to test that out, this is the setup. All right, so me saying it's one-dimensional because I have such a front, like I want to have a little bit like this car very much understeers in the slow corners because we have such a stiff front axle, and I wanted to have, let's say, some Packers, one, let's say one, so I have some suspension travel. Like in 4, where I lose all suspension travel, so I get a lot of understeer in slow corners, right? So I get these Packers, 1 centimeters. I want to have like normal springs, 5 and 5, let's say. And I have that rear wing over there. Also, the front anti-roll bar is really stiff, so I want to soften that up. I don't want to create, because like really stiff axle also creates a lot of heat in these tires, right? So if I wanted to do that, let's say like this, and the brake bias. Now, brake bias is dead center in the middle right now. So I don't know how brake bias should be, or the values are not correct or whatever, but if I start dropping that, then it really gets oversteery. Same as for the anti-lock brakes. We have a lot of flavor here, but if I want to do balanced and I want to give a balanced brake bias, I give a balanced front, like front suspension, balanced front suspension. I don't have a really strong, or like like the anti-roll bar, whatever, and the detached whatever. So let's say drive like this, right? I don't know. I've been playing sim racing games for years and years and years, and this corner you should take flat out, right? And this is what I mean with the update. And you could say, yeah, but you just made the front Packers way too soft and all that stuff. Yes, sir, I did. But the game now forces me to use these max values all the time. So if I now do this, like I put like the stiffness, I added a lot of stiffness. Again, I do this stiff front anti-roll bar. And let's keep this even balanced, let's say, and the brake bias. So if I go out now I have a really stiff axle now on the front. Pretty much every slider I can do is on its stiffest. And obviously I have the understeer. You know, I'm cutting the track almost. Now it's still okay. But I also want to take note that I'm running the max wing. Like the maximum amount of downforce, right? Okay, now let's enter this after Camel Straight, the first corner. So, the front tires, and that is just my complaint about this update, that the front tires have so much grip at the moment, and this is the Porsche, this is also all the other cars. They need to have a really stiff front axle, because pretty much you lose it every time. Now, again, I'm not an alien, I'm just a normal guy just like you, and if we all lose it every time, especially with this beautiful car, then I think this tire update isn't an improvement at all. I think that the way the tires feel and hear are better, but if I need to stiffen up every front axle in my car setups, that's really one-dimensional. So I would like to see a change. So why is it then a disadvantage for beginners or normal people, and why is it an advantage for fast people? Well, for me, I am more forced to drive really front, like a stiff axle on the front, and that really hurts me in the slow corners. But if you're very much skilled, then you can get away with softer front axle tuning, like springs, anti-roll bars, packer distances, whatever, and then those guys will just become a lot faster. Now, again, that is not an issue, but yeah, it feels to me like very one-dimensional, because in the previous update, I was really enjoying the car setups, I was really enjoying, like, tweaking stuff, and now I'm just pushed into the corner. You go out and out, you have a stiff front axle, because else you won't drive the cars, you will lose them everywhere, right? So, now that might come across a little bit of someone that's only complaining, but I'm really happy that they are pushing forward and they're bringing out new content. But yeah, let me know what you think about this like new tire model. I think the game just got a lot harder. And obviously we will adapt, most likely. But then again, what do you think? Let me know. Thanks for watching.